To Marcy T in the building. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Freedom marchers, freedom lovers, freedom family, and freedom fighters. Snapzilla Gorillas in the building. Hitting y'all off with this morning paper. Hitting y'all upside the head, man. Hitting y'all upside the head with this morning paper, man. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. It is Thursday, October 8th, 2025. And we all the way live, y'all. We all the way live in 2025. Time going by real fast. Salute to Smith Davidson. Salute to good morning to you. Marcy T was up in here. Hope you guys are having a good week so far. Hope you guys are having a good week so far. Man, oh man. The first week of October. Has been in the news a lot lately. Well, I'll say cabinet, his government, had in all the buzz for quite a while, man. You know, for the last 2 years, Israel has been working toward domination and imperialism, right? Colonialization. They have plans to, create Israeli settlements all over the Middle East. You know, they have this greater agenda, right? They have the greater Israel plan, or whatever you want to call it, where they plan to expand their empire and go into Africa also and try to liberate Africa. So Israel has big plans. And what they don't need is people getting in the way of that. They don't need people spreading information about what they're doing. They don't want people to understand how much influence and power they have. They're trying to downplay everything that they're doing in the name of defense and all these different things, right? And, they employ a lot of Americans to push their propaganda. They employ, in my opinion, and in fact, of course, they employ influencers in the United States to push the propaganda, because it's very important that they have a lot of support among the people of the United States, right? Because they have to keep up this illusion that they are these perpetual victims, and you can't say anything about them. You can't criticize them. You can't point out nothing. You can't even talk about how much influence and power they have. And when I say they, I am referring to Zionists, okay? That's what I'm referring to. The Zionism is a specific ideology, and it's not religion specific, okay? It's not religion specific. But what we have to understand is that the leaders of Zionism, right? The leaders of Zionism, they have this thing about Israel, where Israel and Israeli people are the chosen people, and they have to have this land of Israel and, this nation of Israel, this state of Israel. And in reality, what they want the entire Middle East to be the nation of Israel. That's what they really want. It's not just about Gaza. It's not just about the West Bank, right? It's not just about the Golan Heights. It's not just about that, right? And so we have to understand this. And in order for them to achieve their goals, they need people, because they get a lot of money from the United States. Let's make no mistake about it. And, they have people in America that are Jews that criticize them, like David Smith, Max Blumenthal, right? As a matter of fact, Max Blumenthal was on what's that Paris guy that, you know, the British dude that has the fucking show? I forgot his name. I forgot. Fuck. He was on his show criticizing Israel, criticizing Zionism, and he is a Jew. He was going in on Alan Dershowitz, who we know Alan Dershowitz. He defended this guy. I can't remember names right now. Jeffrey Epstein. You know, Alan Dershowitz defended Jeffrey Epstein. He defended Bill Clinton. Listen, they all are in cahoots together. These people, these elite class motherfuckers, which Alan Dershowitz is a member of, the elite class, they have this thing where they must defend Israel to no end. And they just don't need those types of individuals. They also need to employ black folks, right? Black conservatives to push their message and to push their agenda in the United States, which is to win the hearts and minds of the people of the United States. Because again, we fund Israel's everything they do. We fund it. We fund Israel. Like this is just what it is. Israel does not produce anything, so they rely on the United States. They rely on the United States and what we're doing in the Middle East. They rely on all that. They get a piece of the pie. This is how they operate. It's the Zionist government of Israel, headed by Benjamin Netanyahu, right? That have designs to conquer and to rule over everything. That's the agenda of the Zionists. That's the Zionist agenda, right? They believe that they can create some utopia with this ideology, and that they have to be the head of this. They need to be at the very. They need to have control over everything. So they employ people right over here in the United States. They employ Americans. They employ, they employ influencers right over here to push their agenda, like Brandon Tatum, right? Now, shortly before Charlie Kirk's death, because Israel's losing steam over here, guys. Everybody is becoming aware of this genocide that Israel is committing over in Gaza in the name of self-defense, right? You know, Benjamin Netanyahu has had every opportunity to get the hostages released, to have this ceasefire, and every single time they blew it up. They completely violated the ceasefire before it could even come into effect. And with this latest ceasefire, this 20-point plan that that Donald Trump has, and he wants to start this he wants to head this organization of peace, right? And he's trying to get Tony Blair to be a part of it, and Tony Blair is a fucking war criminal himself. Like this is what they're doing. But they're losing steam in the United States. They're losing support, and they're using people like Brandon Tatum. Benjamin Netanyahu went on his press tour, and he sits up here and gets on, does this interview with Brandon Tatum, and Brandon Tatum is licking him from the back and not challenging him. He's not doing any of that. What he's doing is he's bringing these so-called rumors and accusations about what Israel's doing, and giving Benjamin Netanyahu an opportunity to lie, mislead, and misinform without any pushback, without any real challenges, right? And he talks about, because there's this thing, right, where people are saying that Israel is kind of like persecuting Christians over there in Palestine, and they're persecuting Christians in Israel as well. And he talks about how he visited Israel, Brandon Tatum, and how, I was only spit on once. We went over there, and we were only spit on one time. Let me tell y'all something. about Brandon Tatum, in my opinion. I have covered Brandon Tatum's buffoonery numerous occasions over the years. Just complete buffoonery. Brandon Tatum cannot think for himself. He cannot create his own talking points, and he can't articulate his own thoughts. Right? They're jumbled. They're freaking convoluted. Like his logical reasoning is non-existent. And so his wife helps him. Just so y'all know, his wife helps him create these talking points. His wife helps him articulate these ideas, right? This is what we have to understand. His wife is essentially the producer of his show. You understand what I'm saying? Not only his wife, but other people that are involved in what he's doing, right? He is the black face of black conservatism. When you look at Brandon Tatum, you're supposed to see a black conservative. But that's not what he really is, y'all. What he is a shield for the Republican base. Not the Republican base. He is a shield for the Republican Party in regards to how they perpetuate division, how they create this left-right paradigm. They need people like Brandon Tatum to perpetuate this paradigm, right? And now they're using him to try to garner support for what Israel is doing. So they go on this press tour. Benjamin Nosferatu goes to Brandon Tatum, tells these lies and half-truths and espouses this bullshit, right? Talking about, Israel is the only nation to go as far as we've gone to try to preserve civilian life in enemy territory, which is fucking bullshit. But Brandon Tatum allows him to spew these lies and does not fact check and does not do his own research. He just lets it slide. And then he does this live stream whining and complaining and bitching and moaning because his own supporters, right? Because let's understand that Israel is losing the support of the conservative base in the proletariat class, not the elite class, but in the proletariat class, right? This is what Charlie Kirk was seeing a few months before his death, because he was being challenged by his supporters, the youth, right? The conservative youth. He was being challenged by his supporters about what Israel is doing because they see that Charlie Kirk is pushing the line for Israel, that he's out there standing the back for Israel, standing in the pocket for him. Well, Charlie started to think, well, maybe they have something. They're asking great questions because they released a letter that Benjamin Nosferatu said Charlie Kirk gave to him. And at first I was like, man, this is a crock of shit. I don't believe that. Like, why don't you show the letter? Because when he first talked about the letter, he didn't release the letter. He just said he got one. And I was like, nah, he's fucking full of shit. Because from what I understand from people close to Charlie Kirk, he didn't like Benjamin Nosferatu. But this letter is released. I'm pretty sure you guys can find it. Says a lot of things, right? Initially in the letter, it appears that Charlie Kirk is kind of, kind of being soft, right? Kind of like kissing the ass of Benjamin Nosferatu and Israel. But then he starts going into, well, this is what's becoming a problem. You guys, Israel, you guys don't have enough. You guys aren't pushing enough of your own propaganda in the United States to combat the criticism that you're getting for what you're doing in Palestine. basically telling him, you need a better propaganda campaign right here in the United States to garner the support of American citizens. That's what it says in the letter. And then you see this press tour of Benjamin Nosferatu. And then you see Brandon Tatum, the most viral interview with Benjamin Nosferatu, because obviously Brandon Tatum, the Officer Tatum, millions of subscribers. He made a name for himself, kowtowing and sucking up to the white conservative base, which is, it's wild to me. It's wild to me. Just like the Hodge twins. Well, they did that as well, but guess what? When they tried to get in on this this community that the white guy in Arkansas is trying to build for white folks, they were rejected. Patently rejected. They said, nah. He said, yeah, y'all cool, but nah, you can't come to my community. But this is what these people do. It's very disingenuous, and they go out of their way to demean the black community, to demean black culture, right? To suck up to white folks. And they think they're respected. They think they're respected because they have all these followers. Yeah, we'll go listen to Brandon Tatum because they'll tell us, he'll tell us what we want to hear. Yeah, we'll go listen to the Hodge twins because they'll tell us what we want to hear. But do we respect them deep down? No, they don't respect y'all. So Brandon Tatum exposes himself, in my opinion, as potentially a shield for Israel. And people are calling him out. And they should be. So you go to this live stream. He's complaining about how people believe he's getting paid by Israel. Salute to Starch Manny. Salute to you, bro. He says Stephen Miller, Pee Wee German. Oh, Stephen Miller is another one. Wait, Stephen Miller. Who's Stephen Miller? Pee Wee German. Oh, okay, I'm thinking Stephen Gardner. But thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you for dropping that super chat. I really appreciate that. Now, people are calling Brandon Tatum out on, right, sucking up to Israel, on defending Israel at every turn. Like, the reason, this is the issue. You can support somebody. You can support Israel. You can support this. You can support that. You can support the United States government. But when you have zero criticism, and when you shoot down all criticism, and you just their shit smells like roses and shit like that, when roses really smell like doo-doo, right? When you just go to bat, when you just go out of your way to defend Israel against every single accusation, every single criticism, you go out of your way. You have nothing critical or logical to say about Israel. Everything is just, oh, Israel's so great. And then you talk about how your people only got spit on one time, as though that's a fucking accomplishment, right? What? Like, help me understand here. So Brandon Tatum is getting called out. And this is beautiful to see, because people like that need to be called out. Right? And then he talks about the numbers. He talks about the numbers of the deaths that are being reported from Gaza. And he dismisses this idea that they're killing children. And then here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. And this is the same thing that PDF file supporters do. PDF file supporters do this. Not to say, I'm not saying Brandon Tatum is a PDF file supporter. I'm saying they do things like this. They say things like, oh, well, this is what Brandon Tatum said. Oh, well, they say they're killing children, and they're talking about 17 and 16 and 15-year-olds. What? So in your mind, in order to diminish the severity of the atrocities. You want to say that a 17, a 16, and a 15-year-old, they're not children. They are fucking children. What are you talking about? See, this is what PDF files supporters do and PDF files do. They say things like, "Oh, John Dusek, thumbs me down." Okay, cool. I don't give a hot damn. Debbie says, "Please educate." Why don't you educate me? Tell me where to go to get this education. Do you have a source? I mean, do you have something that I could look at? God damn it. Hold on, y'all. Hold on, guys. You know what's interesting? All you people coming in here defending Brandon Tatum, where was y'all at in his live stream where people were going in on Brandon Tatum for his bullshit? I find it interesting that there's more people in here defending Brandon Tatum than were calling him out on his own live stream. Very, very interesting. Makes me wonder who you people really are. That's not smart. Help me understand it. Oh, and those people telling me to educate myself, I have no problem with being educated. If I'm wrong about something, if I have the wrong information, tell me what the right information is and where I can find it. You can put it in the chat. My moderators can go and look it up and they can drop a link. Help me, educate me. I'm not educated. Help me. I'm uneducated. I'm not educated enough, or whatever the case may be. Please help me. Help me. I have yet, people that come here and challenge me, I have yet for any of them to really present any evidence that challenges what I say. You know, they'll say things, but tell me tell me the education I should have. Tell me what this education should be. And then I will go do my due diligence and I'll go look it up. What's it about? It's about Brandon Tatum, the Officer Tatum, shilling for Israel. Because in his mind, no, you can't criticize Israel. You can't talk about Israel. He'll dismiss the genocide, all that shit. Never mind that the UN declared what's going on in Palestine a genocide. Never mind that the ICC has declared, has called Benjamin Nosferatu a war criminal. Never mind that. Ducky Momo says he loves Brandon. See, that's y'all problem. GSK, salute to you. I appreciate that. That's y'all problem. You love Brandon. I'm not talking about loving or hating Brandon. I'm talking about him defending Israel and defending them from being called out, defending them from being criticized. Somebody says why? Billy Merkel says, "I'm MAGA," and still criticize Israel. That's good. You should be able to criticize anybody that's doing some wild shit. If you're doing some wild shit, you can be criticized for it. Yes, Tatum. Someone says don't talk to these stupid people. You have to have these discussions. You got to have these conversations with people. That's how you come to an understanding, or that's how you try to arrive at an understanding. Because we have to have this dialogue. We have to have these conversations. We have to have conversations with people we don't agree with. Gregory Marsh says no bad language about Israel. Explain to me. Give me a definition of bad language about Israel. Help me understand what that is. A label should not block your logic and reasoning. Salute the Black Spring with Autumn in the building. Salute to you, Queen. Make sure you drop your link. Shirley Consort. Maggie K says they won't listen. I've had these conversations with people in my chat, and we have some people that they're capable of having a conversation. Sometimes you got to agree to disagree. The bottom line is, if Brandon Tatum has to address people saying that he's getting paid by Israel, because listen, Brandon Tatum was a part of Turning Point USA. Brandon Tatum has these organizations. I forgot what it's called. Whatever, the leaving the left and coming to the right, whatever that organization is called, I forgot. They're all funded by the same organizations. They're all funded by the same corporations. The greatest says Tatum is trash. I think he is. And it's very dangerous. But I appreciate how people, his own supporters, are calling him out. They're criticizing him for going so hard for Israel. Buggle Magnum says, oh, you're talking to somebody else. Keith Hearn says, Officer Tatum is the type that would defend America and slave masters during slavery. Well, at least the slaves are getting fed and they have a job. Yeah, that's exactly what he would do. Someone says leave Tatum alone. Why? Why should I leave him alone? Why is he special? He's a public figure. He has a YouTube channel. So guess what? Just like myself, people can take what I say and they can make videos about it and give their take on what I have to say. I don't have a right to, if people want to criticize me and people have a right to criticize me, just like I have a right to call Brandon Tatum out for what I believe he believed to be him shilling for Israel. Because I can see the agenda. I can see the plan. Israel's losing support from the United States, from the people of the United States, right? They're calling him out for genocide. He's committing atrocity after atrocity. He's attacking sovereign nations. He attacked Iran for no goddamn reason. Talking about, they're going to have nuclear weapons next week. Every week, Iran is going to have nuclear weapons. And then every week after that, they're going to launch nuclear weapons. It hasn't happened in the more than 10 years he's been pushing that line. We give them all this funding. And the only reason Israel can do what they're doing right now is because of the support from the United States. Financial support. Military support. That's why they're doing what they're doing. Why is Israel bad? It's not Israel that's bad. It's the leaders of the Israeli government that are bad. Right? It's the IDF that are carrying out these unlawful orders to oppress and persecute the people of Gaza. That's what's bad. Sean Fink says, watch his videos. I watch enough to know that Brandon Tatum is full of shit. I don't watch CNN though. Israel is the daddy. Yeah. Might as well be. Benjamin Nosferatu might as well be the president of the United States. Salute to Real Eyes. Salute to Real Eyes in the building. Salute to you, Queen. Nahreen Brown says, I'm from Iran. We do have nuclear weapons underground. He is not lying. So what? So what if Israel has nuclear weapons underground? We got nuclear weapons all over the place. We got nuclear weapons at sea. We got nuclear weapons under the ground. So do other countries. Russia has nuclear weapons. North Korea has nuclear weapons. Israel has nuclear weapons. So what if Iran has nuclear weapons? So what? What I'm saying is he's pushing this lie but you haven't proven that. They haven't proven that Iran has nuclear weapons. So you're pushing this lie that Iran is going to launch a nuke if we don't stop them. They haven't launched a nuke yet. Yes, perfect timing. They own our big tech and news. TikTok. Guess who owns TikTok now? Right? Trump got this deal going with China. You know what I'm saying? And TikTok and all this other shit. Black Spring with Autumn is well informed on that. Y'all can check her out just to see who. But y'all don't have to like what I'm saying about Brandon Tatum. I don't really care. I'm going to talk about it because it's important to understand what we're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Larry Ellison. Yeah. Larry Ellison. Yeah. Yeah, he bought TikTok for $14 billion. Guess who Larry Ellison is involved with? Someone says I lost him. Okay. He lost me. Oh, Brandon Tatum lost. Salute to Karen Thacker. He went all Talmud on you. That's what these people do. They know how to, they know how, their bread is buttered. Cultural Dissident says, Heil, Austrian painter. Well, they probably do have nukes in space. I wouldn't put it past any of these countries that have nukes in space. We probably have nukes in space. That's probably why we have the Space Force now. You'd rather be Israel. San Morris says, I'd much rather Israel be around than Hamas. Around what? When have you ever had to deal with Hamas? Sandy? When has Hamas ever bothered you? What did Hamas do to you? Hamas is not around. What country? Are you in Israel or are you in Palestine right now? Hamas isn't around you. You don't have to do it. You have nothing to do with Hamas. Hamas is not in your sphere. They're not doing anything to you. What is Hamas doing to you? Kieran says, Israel had nukes since you were a child. Yeah, Bibi is a liar. Blacksbury says Tatum is in the square for such at a time as this. His wife. Oh yeah, his wife is his puppet master. Exactly, Trill Will Sambo Tatum. That's exactly what he is. That's exactly what he is, because he's been shitting on his own people for years now. Now, his focus is on supporting and defending Israel. You know what I'm saying? Giving Benjamin Netanyahu a platform to spew his lies without challenging him. There is nothing wrong with having Benjamin Netanyahu on your platform. If you're not going to challenge him, what's the point? You're just allowing him to spread his propaganda. Brandon Tatum has been bought and sold and bought years ago. And his wife, well, she is the mastermind behind his meteoric rise. She's the mastermind behind his talking points. Make no mistake about it, Brandon Tatum's wife is the real. She wears the pants. Salute to Claymore Rain in the building. Salute to you, bro. Hey, you drop your link too. Trill Will, make sure you drop your link. Y'all go check Trill Will out. Check Trill Will out, but you gotta have. Listen, you gotta have some intestinal fortitude. If you're sensitive, be careful going to Trill Will's channel, because he don't tolerate the bullshit. So y'all go on ahead over there. If y'all want some real talk, y'all go over here and check out Trill Will. And check out Claymore Rain for some good boxing talk, y'all. If you guys enjoy boxing, check out Claymore Rain as well. Trill Will says, we've been dragging into numerous wars because of the lies from Bibi and is not real. Yes. Bibi Nosferatu has been lying for years. Yes. He helped push the lie of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. He helped push the lies of what happened on 9/11 and the involvement of, the so-called involvement, the alleged involvement of the bin Ladens, by the way, who have been doing business with the Bushes for years before that. You know how the Taliban was created? The Taliban was created because we helped Afghanistan defend themselves against the Russian invasion. So they formed the Taliban, and they obviously they got access to military weapons from the United States and all that good stuff, and that's how the Taliban was formed. Just like how the same way ISIS was formed. Raz Reflex says, just so they can say Israel is the one actually doing it. The real genocide is in Nigeria. That's one of them. There's genocides going on all over the place that we don't know about. Well, that few of us know about. But right now, the focus is on Israel because Israel is pushing this campaign of self-defense. They're pushing this campaign against Hamas. Well, how well can Hamas be operating right now in Gaza? I would go as far as to say that what's going on, I would say Hamas is probably so crippled right now that they're not very effective at all. These people attack Qatar, talking about, oh yeah, there were some Hamas leaders in Qatar. But then he had to apologize to Qatar. So that lets you know right there that he was full of shit. Now, if he hadn't been called out for the bullshit, Bibi Nosferatu, he damn sure wouldn't apologize. Trill Will says, since 1996, he been lying about WMDs. Yes, for years. Always talking about Iran having this and having that. Oh, they're gonna blow us up with nukes and all this other shit. No, Iran. Listen, the land around Iran has a whole lot of oil. A whole lot of oil. How does this help us? How does what help you? Being aware of the shilling and the bullshit? Being aware of the lies and the propaganda? How does that help you? It helps you to be informed so that you can make informed decisions in the future. When your government constantly lies to you, but you continue to submit to the government, and you're aware of these lies, it's quite, I don't understand that. So this helps you by bringing you to an understanding, because if the government can lie to you continuously, even though you call them out, and they even call themselves out for their lies, but yet we still go and we still pay the taxes, we still go to the polling place, we still call for changes, right? And the change we want to see is, well, we want to primary that guy because it's not working out for him. No, we gotta get him out of there. We gotta replace him with another guy. But you're replacing him with a different guy that's operating within the same system. Oh, salute to Black Spring. She dropped the link to my book on Amazon right now. It's called The Seeds of Dark Matter Disease. Y'all go check that out. It's on Amazon right now. Beth Larkin says she's so glad Brandon Tatum is getting called out. And it's encouraging to me because these are the people that really matter in this country. The people within the proletariat class. We are the ones with the real power. We just give them the power, right? We give our consent to be governed. What does that do? Well, we transfer our power to the government. It's a transfer of power. We transfer the power to them, and they transfer that power amongst each other. At the end of the day, they all have the same amount of power. And who they truly represent, they represent the special interest groups. They represent the corporations. These are the PACs, APAC, Big Oil, Big Pharma, the big three food companies, the banks that lobby in Congress, that push legislation, that propose legislation, that our so-called representatives bring to the floor for a vote. Those are the people that are truly represented. And guess what? Many of these corporation heads, they're Zionists. They're Zionists. These are Zionist corporations, Zionist banks. Right? This is what True says. There is no right verse left. It's up verse down. They're going to keep us all distracted and divided. Facts, Trill Will. These are facts. And this is why I'm bringing this to you. Someone says, how does this help us? Well, I'm trying to bring an understanding to the fact that they are trying to keep us divided. They're trying to keep us divided amongst across political lines, racial lines, gender lines now. Gender lines. They create and perpetuate this division to keep us distracted. Well, it's not really working that well anymore, y'all. There are certain individuals, right, that are on the right that you would think they were helping with that division. Candace Owens was one of them. You know, Candace Owens, right? Brandon Tatum, the Hodge twins, all these coons that go so hard against their people to uplift people that don't give a fuck about them. Well, guess what? At least Candace Owens had the balls to stop focusing on that and start focusing on, guess what? What Israel's doing. Because she has a better understanding now. Oh shit. Oh, this is what's really going on. This is who really controls this country. Y'all think it's a conspiracy theory, but it's not. Beth Larkin says we need to find the representative that doesn't take money. Exactly. APEC, maybe 2 Congress people from the House and the Senate. Two Congress people. Maybe 2 aren't bought and paid for by APEC. APEC, see these special interest groups, they don't just go to there isn't a leftist special interest group. There isn't a rightist special interest group. One special interest group will give money to both sides to create and pass legislation that worsen their benefit. They don't give a fuck about a left versus right. They give money to both sides. It gives them a better opportunity to get what they want. It gives them the best chance. The Meddler 777 says, won't hatred towards a particular people for whatever reason be some form of ist or phobia? Well, you would think so. Sure. Yeah. But see, Zionism, it's not about that. Zionism is about a certain class of people having all the power, and their way of achieving that is through deception, through lies, manipulation. Because they think they're the chosen people, right? And so, but they don't divide themselves across religious lines or racial lines. If you're a Zionist, you're a Zionist, right? Queen Mother Shaquila's in the building. Salute to you, Queen. Salute to my surrogate YouTube mother in the building. Andrew R.N. Bilson says, a good amount of these politicians line their pockets on both sides. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Candace Owens, there's a lot of issues going. I don't know why she on this bullshit about she got this footage and she ain't showing it. Whatever with her. Kalia Collins says, I have grown up around people who lived through the Holocaust who have shown me their numbers, who totally disagree with the state of Israel, who still do not believe in the state of Israel. Well, yeah, because they have sense. They know what's up. There are a lot of Jews that don't agree with the Israeli state. They don't agree with what Israel is doing in Palestine at all. Right? But if you look at that Max Blumenthal interview, when he's on, what's that British dude's name? God damn it, I keep forgetting his name. But he was talking to Alan Dershowitz. And we know who Alan Dershowitz is, right? Well, Max Blumenthal, obviously, is calling out Israel and all that stuff. And because Max Blumenthal, who is a Jew, is calling out Israel for the atrocities they're committing in Palestine, Alan Dershowitz says that he's diminishing the Israeli Holocaust. What? What are you talking about? He calls him a Holocaust denier for calling out Israel for committing genocide. This is what they do because they have nothing else. They don't have anything. BLM says you may not see race, but race. I see race. And I see how they use race to divide people. And I see how it works because they convince people down here that we need to be divided across racial lines in a negative way. Right? What I mean by that is, okay, so you recognize the differences in cultures amongst races, right? And how they perpetuate division is by convincing you, well, the way that those people over there live should be perceived as negative in your mind. You don't understand their culture. You're not like them. You're not built like them. They do things differently than you. They have a different point of view of the world. Well, that should be looked at negatively. I don't believe in forced integration. I don't. But what I believe is you should be able, hold on, y'all. Hold on just a second. Hold on. My bad, y'all. So there's nothing wrong because the world, right? The world has so many different people with so many different cultures, so many different ways of life, because they live in different environments. Their ancestors did different things. And so as they evolved culture, they evolved traditions. There's nothing wrong with the differences in people, like the key is to respect those differences, not to hate them, not to look at them as savages because they don't do what you do. No, you should be able to appreciate their culture and respect it and allow them to live as they see fit. But see, that's not, for whatever reason, that's not something that You know, when the Europeans started going around and trying to conquer and invade and spread their empire and colonialize everything, they didn't have that respect. It's just not what it is. They didn't celebrate the differences. They saw savagery. They saw you know, they saw crude behavior. And, oh, why are you doing that? Well, because they're not you. Well, they couldn't respect it. That's the problem. There's nothing wrong with being different. There's nothing wrong with being segregated. Because guess what? You leave people to their own devices and allow them to do as they want. People are going to congregate with the people they are most aligned with. They are going to group up. They're going to come together with people that are most like them. There's nothing wrong with that. The key is to respect the people that don't look like you. Respect the differences. Right? If we can do that, there wouldn't be a problem with segregation. You know what I'm saying? Like those people in Arkansas that want to have their own community. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that white man, I've got his name, wanting to start a community of white people in Arkansas and mind their own goddamn business. I have no problem with that. They don't want black people to come to their goddamn land. I ain't got no problem with that either. Just like not all culture deserves to be preserved. There is a finish line, Jack Rivera says. Well, that's the beautiful thing about evolution. That's the beautiful thing about that's the beautiful thing about nature versus nurture. That's the beautiful thing about survival of the fittest. Because those cultures that don't deserve to be preserved won't be. They won't be. Right? But it's not up to one culture to go around and determine which culture does or does not deserve to be preserved. That's not how this shit works. Because I would say it's that culture. The culture of people that feel like they need to conquer everything, that they need to control the whole goddamn world. That's the culture that don't need to be preserved, goddammit. That's the one that don't need to be preserved. Primal Rebirth says, honestly, it seems like no one can do anything right in your eyes. Where'd you get that idea from? Where did Primal Rebirth get that idea that I don't think that anybody can do anything right in my eyes? What? I'm talking about one man, Brandon Tatum, shilling for Israel. And I'm talking about Benjamin Nosferatu being a war criminal. I'm talking about the Israeli Defense Forces also being war criminals on the behalf of Benjamin Nosferatu and his cabinet. I'm talking about Alan Dershowitz, who defended a PDF file, multiple PDF files. That's everyone. Tony B says there are no cliques in heaven and everyone wants to go there. Well, yeah. If you believe in heaven and believe in what heaven is perceived to be, yeah. A Nestor Asteroid says, like the village on the island that's restricted, they never modernize and kill outsider. Well, leave them alone. Mind your own goddamn business. Because listen, these people, these primitive tribal people that still exist today, you know why they survived? Do you know why their tribe have survived so long? Because, well, like unlike other cultures around the world, unlike other tribes around the world, when they saw those big ass ships come in and were like, let's see what let's see what these people are talking about. And then these people on the boats, they act like they're your friends and act like they're there to learn from you and to coexist. Well, the cultures that are still preserved, those primitive tribal cultures, yeah, the reason they still exist is because for that very reason. Because they're not gonna trust you. Yeah, you coming through here. I don't know what your agenda is. All I know is I'm going to protect my people from an invasion. They saw them as invaders. It is what it is. That's why they exist today as they do. Matthew Rose says, here we have Malcolm and his hat. Okay. Yes, they survive because of isolation that they defend. They defend their isolation. Yes. And maybe they exist on land that, you know, the conquerors really have no interest in. So that's another factor. Derek White says, have a good day. You too. Khalid Collins says, Ashkenazi were not known about until the late 16th and 1700s. Prior to that, the only European Hebrew was the Sephardic Hebrews who traced their ancestry to Palestine. Okay, yeah. Yes, Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan. Max Blumenthal from the Gray Zone, right? He publishes the Gray Zone. That's his organization. He was on Piers Morgan giving them the business. So the word criminal is pronounced Nosferatu. I got you, Jeffrey Hearn. Kaumbe says, now you're just being dumb. Smarten me up. Smarten me up. If I'm being dumb, educate me. Go ahead. I have no problem with that. Y'all think I'm being dumb? Educate me. I have no problem being corrected and educated. Help me understand. Hard Rocker says Galatians 32:29 says, you not Jew or Gentile, all one in Christ Jesus. Read it, people. Yes. Kalia Collins says Matthew Rose, what crap is it's all truth? Oh. Connor Kane says you speak real well and are deaf reading or watching a lot. Well, I try to. Well, just listen, guys, just because I'm talking to you guys from in a vehicle doesn't mean that what I'm saying isn't based in something. You know? America 1-2U says you cannot even read. Obviously I can't read. Jackie Rivera says you have to correct something you said before. Candace Owens has never claimed to have footage that she's not released. She said, yes, she did. Yes, she did. She said she convinced the guy that took the camera down to send her the footage. And she saw the footage. And so when she was debunking aspects of Range Days videos, she said that she saw footage from the back and has footage from the front. That's what she said. And she hasn't released it. So, yeah. She has footage that she hasn't released. And she said she had said footage. But it's okay. Isn't based in something. America 1-2U. Your sentence structure is flawed. Please help me out. I don't understand what you're saying. Linda Buxton says, good morning. Good morning to you. So that's where I'm at, people. I really appreciate the fact that people are calling out Brandon Tatum. Right? They're calling him out. They should have been calling him out for the bullshit that he been spewing. You know, not just about Israel and not just about Benjamin Nosferatu, but the bullshit he spews out of hatred for black folks. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. If you love white folks and you believe white folks are great, you don't have to denigrate and shit on black folks to do that. No, you don't have to do that. No. You don't have to go out of your way to tap dance and coon for white folks. If you enjoy white people, if you don't hate white people, I don't hate white folks. Hell, my grandmama was white. My mother's mother was white. I don't hate white people. But I don't have to shit on my own people in order to make white folks feel good about themselves. Kabeen Torre says, get a job, my brother. Stop. If you want me to stop, Kabeen, I'll tell you what. Let me get you out of here. You want me to stop? How about you perform what is known as self-censorship? If you want me to stop saying what I'm saying and get a job, well, you don't have to be here. So therefore, I'm going to get you out of here, and you can never come back with that account. You cannot return to my channel with that account and type in the chat. So I have helped you along your way. You don't have to worry about what I'm saying or whether I have a job. And you don't have to worry about me stopping from talking. You can just go on about your business. It's called scrolling up. It's called, put do not recommend. They have the three circles up there. You hit that and then you say do not recommend. And then you can go on about your way. It's simple. That's how that works. Big Bad Bane says your criticisms on people are silly when you have opinions that are strong but ill-educated. Big Bad Banes, tell me which criticisms are silly and educate me. No, America 1-2 you say do me also so your bull's BS will never show up in my feed again. Take care of that your goddamn self. But I will get rid of you. I will not allow that account to ever write in my chat again. But you're going to have to go up there and put, I'm not going to do that. I'm not doing that work for you. Do your own goddamn work. Ken Melee says, much love from Australia. Salute to you. Yeah, y'all going about your business. I don't understand that. You know. Oskovich says, so anyone who doesn't agree with you on Israel is the bad guys. No, I didn't say that. But we all have to support Ukraine, right? Why would I support Ukraine? Support Ukraine for what? Support Ukraine for what? What has Ukraine ever done for me? Why would I want to support Ukraine? What are you talking about? You people with your either or fallacies. No, and it's not anyone who doesn't agree with me on Israel is a bad guy. No. No, it's not a bad guy. You're full of shit and you're bad when you're obviously going out of your way to defend Israel against from being called out from there for atrocities that they are committing. And you try to diminish the level of genocidal acts by trying to say, oh, well, they're lumping 17 and 16-year-olds in with children. Like, get the fuck out of here. You are obviously trying to downplay the genocide, and when people call you out for believing, if they believe that you are paid by Israel to shield for them, well, you might want to look at your content and try to understand why. Because we do know that Charlie Kirk and other conservative talking heads and content creators are paid by Zionist organizations that act on the behalf of Israel and have this idea for what Israel should be. All right. You think the Rams will beat the 49ers? Shit, I hope not. Supporting Ukraine is supporting democracy. Why would I support democracy? Oh, y'all think I'm a statist. Y'all think I believe in a left-right paradigm. Why would I support democracy? Democracy is ass. Well, it's not just me calling out Brandon Tatum. Brandon Tatum's own audience is calling him out. Oshkovich says Charlie Kirk, the one who publicly disagreed with Bibi. He started to. Yes, I agree, Oshkovich. Ukraine can worry about themselves. Yes, Charlie Kirk started to call out and criticize Israel, but he did not go far enough. He was still focused on the bullshit. He was still focused on, perpetuating division in this country while trying to call out Israel. So guess what? There was an opportunity to make it look like, the left took out Charlie Kirk because he was still on that bullshit. It just is what it is. Charlie Kirk was supposed to have left 90 million. Well, his organization, TPUSA, has been funded by all kind of organizations, all kind of corporations. Since its inception, he's received a whole lot of money. Yeah, this is not, Charlie Kirk had a lot of donors with a lot of power and a lot of money. They gave him a lot of money to spread his message, to do what he was doing. And then when he started getting out of line, they started pulling funding from him. Good morning, Sketch Kill. Anyway, y'all, I got to get out of here. Steve Mears said Charlie Kirk did not perpetuate division. Yeah, he did. All he wanted was to bring people together and speak openly. Well, yeah, he went to colleges to speak to people and have these debates. But he debated with people and he used language and rhetoric that was divisive. It is what it is. Yes, he had people come and have conversations with him so that he could try to push his rhetoric and try to make himself appear to be smarter than the people he was debating that disagree with him. Usually these were people that also believed in the left-right paradigm, that also were caught up in this divisive system, right? This divisive mind state where I got to go against that guy and I got to go against that guy. We got to go against each other. I can't have my own ideology and you can't have your own ideology, and we can't exist in the same world together. No, it has to be this way or that way. Well, how about you have your ideology and you mind your goddamn business somewhere? I have my ideology and I go mind my own business somewhere else. And never the two shall meet. And if we do, we just respect each other's different ideologies. Listen, live the way you want to live. I'll live the way I want to live. Don't violate me. I won't violate you. That's it. Steve Biff Saunders says, the same can be said about me. Okay, tell me how. So disagreement is divisive language. No. No. I don't know where you got that from, but okay, if that's what you want to believe. Jackie Rivera says that is not realistic. Why not? How is it not realistic? Jackie Rivera, if you like to put on fishnet stockings and walk around heels in your house, minding your own goddamn business, and I want to walk around in my house regular, Don't people do that all day, every day? My neighbor, they do what they want in their house, and I do what I want in my house. How's that not realistic? How's that not realistic to scale that up to the entire world? Shows you never listen to a thing he says. J-Mo says. To a thing who says? Oh, Charlie Kirk? Okay, I never listened to Charlie Kirk. You're right. All of Charlie Kirk's messages were scripture-based. Sure. Okay. All Charlie Kirk's messages were spiritual-based. Sure. Scripture-based. Absolutely. Believe what you want. I'm not going to argue with y'all about that. Thomas Conservative says, during the pandemic, that didn't work, man. Thank you for dropping that $10 super chat. I appreciate you. What didn't work during the pandemic? Live and let live, mind your own business. They like to live through the life of others. And let me ask y'all something. If a gay couple wants to have a wedding ceremony, how does that hurt you? How does it hurt you? What does a gay couple having a wedding ceremony, how does that affect you in any way? Can somebody answer that? How do two people, whether they are homosexual or heterosexual, how do two people, a couple, how do them getting married, how does that affect you in a negative way? Marriage is in the Bible. Well, that's what I'm saying. J-Mo, the point is, if people have a different view of life and a different way of life than you, so the fuck what? But to try to call out and try to convince people that they should have a problem with this and that they need to get electroshock therapy, that's when it becomes a problem. When you try to push your ideologies on other people and try to merge the state and church, that's when it becomes a problem. You see? Because Charlie Kirk believed in merging church with state. Just like Donald Trump is trying to merge church and state. Church and state are supposed to be separate. They're trying to bring them together. That's when it becomes a problem. Now, Charlie Kirk was like, I think gay marriage, I think gay sex is disgusting and is anti-human. Okay, you can have that belief. I believe that. But it doesn't affect me if two dudes want to get it cracking over there and I ain't got nothing to do with that. What they got to do with me? Because, see, I'm not trying to merge church and state and to push my ideologies onto everybody in the goddamn country. And that's real shit. And at the same time, the gay couple should not be trying to force a bakery to make them a wedding cake. If that bakery doesn't want to make you a wedding cake because they don't believe in gay marriage and they don't want nothing to do with that, well, guess what? That gay couple has no right to try to have the courts force that bakery to make them a motherfucking cake. Go find a gay bakery. Go find a bakery that is okay with making the gay couple a cake. You see? It works both ways. Because now, what the gay couple is trying to do, trying to force that bakery owner to make them a cake, is they're forcing their ideologies onto that guy in that bakery. It's his own business. That's his private business. The court has no fucking business trying to make him bake them a fucking cake if he don't want to. Just like if there is a private establishment, like a restaurant, and they don't want to serve black folks, all right, I have no problem with that. Because you're a private owner of that restaurant. That is your private property. That is your business. If you don't want to serve black folks, far be it for me to try to force you. I won't fucking patronize you. I won't even try. That's called discrimination. You have a right to discriminate. You have a right to discriminate against people from patronizing your business. If you don't want to sell to a certain group of people, that's your right. It's your private business. You put up the money. You established the business. You drew the loan. Whatever you did. Yeah, exactly, Glenda. I will take my money elsewhere. Why would I want a restaurant owner who don't like black folks and don't want to serve black folks? Why would I want to go and patronize their business if they have made it clear that they don't want to serve black people? Why would I want the court system or the government to force them to serve me? Why would I want them? Well, that's crazy. Why would you want to go there anyway? Exactly. So at the same time, I don't want the government to force them to serve us. You have a right to discriminate when it comes to your own private property and your own private business. Race isn't sex. I said divisive. I didn't say he was just divisive about race. Just like Charlie Kirk was trying to convince y'all that if he saw a black pilot, he has to worry about whether or not that black pilot is qualified. What does that have to do with scripture? What in the scripture says, thou shalt not fly on a plane with a black Negro pilot in it? What scripture says that? What scripture talks about black pilots not being qualified? What is that? Where in the scripture does that say? Where does it talk about that? Now, if he doesn't want to fly on the plane with the black pilot, he has every right to say, you know what? I don't like black pilots. I'm not flying on this plane. Okay, that's his right. Sandman says DEI. Oh, so you're saying DEI applies to aircraft pilots. Is that what you believe? Well, someone earlier said that every message Charlie Kirk pushed came from scripture. That's what they said. Now, do y'all believe that DEI applies to pilots? Is that what y'all think? Y'all think commercial pilots, that DEI falls under that? That falls under? You're wrong. No, it doesn't apply to every job. Big bad Baines. Aircraft pilots have certain qualifications and certain tests they have to go through. They have to meet certain qualifications. The FAA does not, exactly, oh my goddess, the FAA does not practice DEI. DEI does not apply to aircraft pilots for commercial airlines. No, they're not reduced for DEI. Not the qualifications for aircraft pilots. No, it does not. I know a black woman who is trying to get her license. Trust me, the qualifications are still very stringent. They're very stringent. No, they're not, Steve Mears. That's the lie they told you. Dick Grayson said discrimination is illegal in federal law. It should not be in regards to private businesses. Private businesses should not, there should not be a law that prevents private businesses from discriminating. It's their business. Why would they don't have to serve who they don't feel like serving. Now, if it's a government subsidized corporation, if it's a government subsidized business, that's a different story. Sandman says DI reduces qualifications. Not for aircraft pilots. Not for commercial airline pilots. Not for flight schools. No, it doesn't. So Charlie said that about pilots because of DI. Okay. Now, first of all, you want to go there, right? You want to go to DI? Which group has benefited the most from DEI? No, Dick Grayson, is not my right to go into a private business that's owned by a white man that doesn't want to serve me. No, it's not my right. It's the right of that business owner to say if they don't want a black person in their business, it's their right to not have them in their business. It's their private business. Yes, white women are the greatest beneficiary of DEI. Facts. Salute to Starch Man in the building, dropping another super chat. I appreciate you. Patriots shouldn't be for a FCC getting people fired for jokes. National Guard in our city saying we have enemies within about citizens. Yeah. Yes. Where did I come up with what? No, they didn't. Commercial airline pilots started using DEI in 2020. Okay, whatever you say. Whatever you say. I'm not getting on a plane with a black pilot and I am black. That's yours. Hey, that's your choice. Now, what's your reason? What's the reasoning behind that? It would be my question. That's not true, Brett Sands. Just because they're asking that for records. That doesn't mean that they're going to lower their qualifications. That doesn't mean that they're going to, hire you because you're black. Because guess what? You could opt out. See, someone says any company that asks your race, your gender, if you're a veteran, if you have a disability is part of DEI. The only reason they ask. Well, you can opt out of answering those questions. You could put, I prefer not to answer, and they'll never fucking know. You don't have to answer those questions. You could deny answering those questions. So how is that going to work towards DEI if they don't know the fuck race you are if you're a veteran? Now they're focused on your qualifications. Well, they don't know if you black or a veteran until you actually get hired or until you have the interview. Someone says you never get the job. That's not true. That's not true. I've gotten the job before where I didn't answer any of those questions. So what are you talking about? Y'all just be saying shit. Anyway, y'all, I'm getting out of here. I got shit to do. But I appreciate you guys coming through. I appreciate the conversations. Just because I'm disagreeing with y'all don't mean that I don't appreciate your disagreements. I love it when you guys say what you guys feel. Oh, someone says I'm fake. Okay. Whatever you say. Veteran preference, you still have to meet the qualifications for the job. So once you meet the qualifications, then you get 10 points towards getting hired. But you still have to meet qualifications. They list qualifications. They might, they might compromise a little bit based on whatever. Like you might not have a certain amount of experience in one area, but you have more experience in another area, and they feel like they can train you up. Well, private businesses have a right to do that. They can, if they want to put more emphasis on one qualification than the other, if they want to reduce the qualification because you're so great at something else, they have the right to do that. And they'll just say, you know what, we can train you. We feel like you're a fast learner. We feel like you're articulate. We think you're intelligent. You know what? I think you can learn this because you're so great at these other things. Yeah. Anyway, y'all, do you guys understand that these private businesses that try to hire people and they have these qualifications, they decide what qualifications they want the candidates to have. They list the qualification themselves. The government doesn't give them a list of qualifications they have to go by. They put their own qualifications, these private organizations. So what are you talking about? It's their choice. If they want to use DEI, if they want to put preference over one group over another, they create their own. It's their choice. It's their choice. Big Shit 215 says every job post have qualifications and preferred. That leaves room for salary ranges. Yes. And based on your qualification, they decide what salary you get. If they want to hire 50% black folks, it's their fucking choice. This is a private business. If they want to hire 10% black folks, if they want to hire 5% of their people to be in fucking wheelchairs, it's their fucking choice. It's their choice. It's not for the government to decide who they give preference to. That's what y'all are not getting. But when it comes to the FAA, that's a whole different ball of wax. Because the FAA has qualifications for every airline that are strict and must be met, regardless of race, creed, or color. But you know what? Y'all believe what you want. Someone says I'm lying. Okay. Anyway, y'all stay up, man. You guys, I appreciate the pushback. I really do. Pushback is necessary. We shouldn't just go along to get along, right? You should not go along to get along. I appreciate the pushback. I appreciate the disagreement. Don't just agree what I'm saying. Salmon says, cackling hyenian. What's a hyenian? If you're going to insult someone, it's best to use the correct spelling of a word. Just saying. And I appreciate the super chat, y'all. I really appreciate y'all. Thank you. And you guys be safe too, man. You guys keep your head on the swivel. Stay on the lookout. Interesting times are coming. And yeah, we shall see what happens. But God bless you guys as well. Thank you for coming through, even if you disagreed, even if you agreed. True ex-Lord Shover says Kirk is burning. LOL. That's funny. But I appreciate the $1.99 super chat. True ex-Lord. Much love, guys. Like, share, subscribe. The agenda for me and my channel is to push the message of freedom. The push of the message of freedom and to encourage people to question everything and not just believe what their government masters tell them. Right? Question me. Question everybody. That is my whole thing on here. And I've been doing this for years, y'all. I have not changed up. I've been consistent. Anyway, much love. Like, share, subscribe. And we're going to keep marching forward toward freedom. Peace. Oh, Chris, the next Mex vet says, hey, fool, you didn't read my super chat. You dropped the super chat? Where at? Hold on. I didn't see no super chat from you. Oh, here you go. Oh, my bad. My bad. Chris, the Mex vet, says, let's be real. They're usually lazy and incompetent. Well, I got to tell you something. It seems like you're Mexican. I work on construction sites. I have been seeing a lot of lazy Latinos on the job. I've been seeing a lot of them standing around on their phones, sitting down on wire reels, holding up the wall, lazy than a motherfucker, putting in poor quality work. Yeah, I've seen that a lot from the Latin folks on the construction sites, getting paid $30 to $40 an hour, doing half-ass work, milking the goddamn job. Yeah, I've seen it. Anyway, I'll holler at y'all later.